Hi, everyone. I'm Brennan,
And I'm Carter.
and this is Bartering Hollywood, a podcast where we talk about things that are going on in pop culture and try to make a deal with Hollywood for something better. This is episode two. We had a little bit of a break between episode one and two. For now, it's probably gonna be every couple of weeks that we
Yeah, I would say so.
um,
Yeah.
because I'm currently I'm literally a week, less than a week, I open up a show that I'm in. I open up Sweeney Todd. I'm playing Tobias in Sweeney Todd right now. So if any of you are Sweeney Todd fans and in the Gulf Coastal region of the United States and want to come see it, there are ways of finding out when and where the show is that I'm not going to share. If you really want to, you can find them yourself. But yeah, so I'll be a little bit busy. Then I go back to work in a couple of weeks. So it's going to get a little bit hectic. And Carter, I'm sure, has had.
Yeah, I got for those of you that are in Hollywood, which probably isn't a lot because we don't know a lot of people in Hollywood. But make sure you go to Halloween Horror Nights this year because your boy is casted. So I'm gonna be out there acting. So make sure you come and check us out.
That's something that like you can officially talk about and like you can tell people you
I can tell you that I'm casted. I can't say anything else. Yeah. Yeah.
because I know when I worked for Disney and had the opportunity to be in entertainment, they didn't even want me to tell people. Now I don't care. I'm never going to work for the Walt Disney Company again. So now I'll straight up tell you. But at the time when I auditioned, they didn't want me to tell anyone even who I got fitted for. I got fitted for a particular character who is he's very young and he has an affinity for green. Um, that's
Mike
all.
Wazowski.
Yeah,
It's
him. Yeah, yeah. Mom, I'm on TV. Yeah, that was him. But so I didn't know if Universal had the same rules.
yeah. So I haven't done any I mean I got casted. I don't know what I can say and what I can't, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. But from what I've been told, I can't talk about what part I'm playing or anything that goes on beyond behind the scenes. So I'm
Which
just gonna
makes
leave
total
it as
sense.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm allowed to tell you who I played or what I played after it's over. So an episode in November will probably you'll be able to find out.
Okay, cool. And that'll be great for me to find out too, because I won't know until then, because I can't get out to uh Hollywood. My salary won't allow that. But anyway, so this week, like we said, it's episode two. We wanted to just get into, we talked a lot about theme parks in episode one. Um, with this episode, we're going to do a lot of actual Hollywood talk. I
Yes.
wanted to talk about a trend that I am really starting to hate in streaming television, and Carter wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about some upcoming summer blockbusters, I would call it. Really big movies that are about to release this year. So,
So yeah, it should be a really fun episode just listening to us. It's probably just going to be a lot of ranting,
yeah.
more so than this one's a little bit looser structured.
Yeah.
But to move on to that first segment that we love, which is the what are we enjoying? Carter, what are you enjoying recently?
I just watched Eddie Murphy in the new Beverly Hills Cop movie on Netflix. Yeah, Axel F. It Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. I haven't seen any of the other movies. So
Wait a minute,
when he came up, I
Joseph
was just like,
Gordon-Levitt's still acting?
yeah, yeah.
I
I
feel,
love him. I love him.
I feel like the last time I saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt in something, it was
He
Dark.
didn't do the Grinch, no. Who was the live action Grinch for the musical? That was really bad.
Oh, Matthew Morrison.
I get those two confused so
Why?
often. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just, I guess it's the aura, the
Okay. Okay.
young Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
That's an interesting
like
take.
yeah, like Batman Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And
That's an interesting take. But what did you
I'm
what did you
sorry.
think of the new Beverly Hills Cop?
Um, it was all right. I haven't seen any of the other ones, so it was probably missed a few things. I would say like a little bit of the character connections and stuff like that. But it overall it was a pretty good movie. I mean, it's an action cop movie, so
That's one of those because it's four, right?
yeah, I believe so. Four, and I have no idea what happens in the third one or when the third one came out, but there's room for another one after this one. So
That's kind of my take on franchises doing something like that. And I mean like outside of like a superhero franchise or something like that,
mhm.
in an action movie or even in like a horror franchise like Nightmare on Elm Street or something,
Yeah,
by the time you get to the fourth one, you've kind of done all you can do with the characters that you've established in your first three.
yeah.
At least in my opinion. Like if I'm trying to think, the fourth the fourth Nightmare on Elm Street was Dream Child,
I think so.
because Dream Warriors is three.
It's not a new nightmare. I know that. It's
Yeah.
not.
So it's like by the time you get to that fourth one, each movie is going to maybe have one or two returning characters.
Yeah.
And then you're just gonna, from that point on, just start introducing
Yeah,
new.
from what I can tell, like with the I don't think they're even called legacy sequels because it's like a straight sequel to the third one. But whenever a character were or was being on camera for like the first time, like they appeared, you could tell that they were a returning character because there was a long pan and the music kind of changed.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this guy is important. I don't know why, but I know he was in the other one. So
Well,
yeah.
it's like when you get to and correct me if I'm wrong, I have not seen any of the Fast and Furious movies, but is it the third or fourth one that's like a completely different cast of people?
I I'm not good on Fast and Furious. I like the first three. I want to say, if I'm correct, it's Fast and Furious, Too Fast and Furious, or Too Fast, Too Furious. I don't know. I'm
That's like
probably
a completely different set of characters.
yeah. It's like Paul Walker and or oh no, you're thinking of Tokyo Drift. I think
Okay, am I?
yeah, Tokyo
Okay.
Drift. Yeah, that's like the third one. I think.
So yeah, it's like when you get to that like three and four, that's kind of where a new audience can come into something.
Yeah.
And you really don't have to go back and watch all the other ones. It's like think of what was the Ocean's 8. Um
Ocean's 8 and Ocean's
yeah,
11 and
that
Ocean's
came out.
9.
It was like it's not really connected to 11, 12, and 13. Um so a new audience could come into that one.
Yeah.
It's the same type of story, and it's like, oh, if you like this, go back and watch what else we did. But you
Yeah.
don't have to, you're not
You
going to.
could definitely watch Beverly Hills Cop 4 without seeing any of the other ones because they build up his character throughout the first like 5 minutes.
Okay. And kind of speaking on that same thing, we got a trailer. Literally, we are recording this on Friday, July 12th. Literally this morning, we got a trailer for another fourth
Oh,
franchise.
yeah, 4.
We got Captain America 4, Brave New World. And I have avoided the Twitter discourse about it just
Oh,
because
everybody has.
I'm over it. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely over reading everything. I just want to go in and enjoy something. I am
Mhm.
so tired of, and even we got another trailer this week too, which I really want to talk about. And it's the reason I'm wearing this shirt, if you recognize this symbol. But we'll talk about that one too. But even
Yeah.
that one is getting so much controversy and discourse, and I'm so sick of it
I-
because what I'm, and I didn't mean to cut you off there,
no, you're good. You're good.
but the major thing that I've been seeing this morning is people once again complaining about Sam Wilson being the one who got gifted um
Yeah.
Steve's shield at the end of Avengers Endgame. What I want to point out to these folks, there is a comic history. There is a longer comics accurate history of um, Sam Wilson being Captain America
Yeah.
than there
That's
is
exactly what I was gonna say.
being Captain.
Bucky was capped for maybe one or two runs, I believe, and he had to give it back.
Sam,
So
Sam has been, there are iterations of Sam Wilson. I believe there are still running iterations of Sam
yes,
Wilson as Captain
yeah.
America. So, and whatever you think of Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, I personally love the decision to give the shield to Sam.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense story wise too, because even if we go after Civil War, this is the fourth one. Civil War, he was a war criminal still because he did commit those crimes. Granted, he was brainwashed, but
Yeah.
you know,
But also at the end of Avengers Endgame, it's telegraphed to the audience that Bucky didn't want the shield.
yeah,
Old man Captain America is literally sitting there on the bench, and Bucky nudges Sam forward.
yeah.
So
See,
even
Bucky, he's not. He knows he's not ready for it. Even
yeah,
if he were to be gifted the shield, he's not. I mean, in the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we see he's even after he's made amends with everything, he's not personally ready for that type of mantle. He's
exactly.
not.
And there is a line in the Captain America 4 trailer, in the Brave New World trailer. It's said by Harrison Ford, who is now playing General or President Thunderbolt Ross, which William Hurt, who passed away a few years ago, did play that character. So it is a recast to have Harrison Ford in that role. And they addressed the change kind of
Yeah, in
nice.
the first like 5 seconds, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like they said lose the mustache or lose the election. And it's like, oh, okay, that's clever. Also, why did we have to have that in the trailer? That feels like a movie line. Should have just saved that for the movie. Anyway, um, but he says to Sam Wilson at some point, um, you're not Steve Rogers.
Yes, and it echoes. It is loud.
It's it kind of makes me a little nervous for the movie because are we going to have to retread the same ground that we already tread in Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I think we're gonna have to because I don't think people saw it. I don't. I
So
just.
then so then what is the point of the Disney Plus series? Because same thing can be said of Multiverse of Madness. As much as I love Multiverse of Madness, there is still a major disconnect between the Wanda that we got in WandaVision, even the Wanda that ended WandaVision, and the Wanda that started in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So,
I the thing with the Marvel shows is like they kind of came out in a time where people were getting the Marvel fatigue that people like to say they have, and it's a real thing. I mean I got it a little bit, but now it's kind of been a few years where there hasn't been a Marvel movie that has got me excited. And so like when Agatha the trailer came out, on paper I was like this is risky, and then I saw the trailer and I was like okay, they're this is different from what I thought they were going to do.
yeah,
And same with Cap 4. Like it's good to know that they took their time with these things. So,
yeah. The truly the only thing that worries me is I don't want to see Sam have to go through that character arc again.
yeah.
We've already gotten Sam proving himself to be a different Captain America than Steve Rogers. We've
Mhm.
already gotten him taking what made him the Falcon and what made him a good soldier and applying that to what makes him Captain America. I am hoping that the movie will pick up on that and develop it further and not make us have to go back through the same story arc. that's what I'm saying I'm hopeful about with that. Now, I am very excited to see Red Hulk, which the trailer did
Oh,
reveal that we're getting.
yes.
I'm excited to see I cannot remember the character's name, but he was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it was who
Oh,
Sam gave the wings to.
he's gonna be the new Falcon. So like
Joaquin
in the comics, that's even
Torres? Is that his name? Joaquin Torres?
that sounds familiar.
I think the
I,
actor's name might be Danny Ramirez. I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that, but I'm excited to see him
yeah,
as
the Serpent
Falcon.
Society is rumored
Are
to
we
be in
are
this
we getting
too.
Serpent Society?
I don't know if that rumor got axed or anything, but I remember hearing that they actually casted some people for those roles. So
Interesting. Okay. What I'm a little bit also worried about is apparently the leader is supposed to show up as well, which we have not seen the leader since the 2008 Hulk movie. Why are we getting Hulk villains in a Captain America movie?
I don't know. I think they're trying to set up like maybe a Dark Avengers film
Like
where
Gamma Corps or something. Did you ever read
Thunderbolts something.
Thunderbolt?
Yeah,
Did you ever
yeah,
read World War Hulk comics?
yes, yeah,
So they had a Gamma Corps, which were like Abomination, the Red Hulk, a version of She-Hulk, I believe,
yeah.
and they
Scar.
were yeah, they were responsible for taking down the Hulk. So if we're gonna get something like that eventually, maybe that could be really cool. Or we see something like that set up to take down the Red Hulk. Um,
Yeah,
but excited to see what they do with Brave New World. I'm hopeful, and what I'm even more hopeful about is Agatha All Along, which
yeah,
the marketing for Agatha All Along was amazing from the get-go, from the jump.
yeah,
We had the different title reveals. We had Agatha Coven of Chaos, Agatha House of Harkness, all of these different titles that we were getting. Then we got Agatha of Westview. And then eventually they revealed it's been Agatha all along, which I think is clever. That's
yeah.
a nice little tease and all that. But what I am infinitely excited for about Agatha all along is seeing the ramifications of Wanda's magic, which was hinted at in the trailer with Aubrey Plaza's character.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm most excited for Aubrey Plaza to
Yeah,
see what
Aubrey
she does
Plaza's
with that.
character. And Patty LuPone, like I'm a theater person. Patty LuPone showing up in there, Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn and Joe Locke. Like this is a queer person fantasy.
Dude, the trailer when I first saw it, like, and she's in the cop car or the detective's car, and they're going to like the mortician, and they're looking at the bodies and everything. I was like, this feels like the autopsy of Jane Doe, like that scary movie. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it all
No.
takes place in a morgue, and
Okay.
they're trying to figure out who this is, that they're the dead person. And I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. Go check it out definitely. But
Yeah, I'm gonna put that one on my list.
yeah, it's like things start happening in the morgue. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Because then she says, like, do you really think like Aubrey Plaza's character is like, do you really think this is you? You're trapped, you're still trapped in that witch's spell.
yeah,
Because at the end of WandaVision, we saw Wanda put another hex of some kind on Agatha. She let the rest of the residents of Westview go back to who they were, but Agatha, that was her penance for her
yeah,
actions in that series. Um, and so what we're gonna see is Agatha walk the witch's road. That's this whole setup for this show, is that Agatha is going to be going back through and rediscovering who she is. And during that, we are going to see, and this is what I am infinitely excited about. We are going to see the introduction of my favorite Marvel Comics character of all time.
of all
I
time. I don't think I know.
I don't care if it has not officially been revealed. It would be a massive misuse of this actor to not make him this character, and that's Wiccan.
Wait, I thought so. I
Wiccan.
thought so.
Wiccan
Yeah,
is my favorite Marvel Comics character of all time. And if you don't know who Wiccan is, we've already seen Wiccan in the MCU. In WandaVision, Wanda's two children, Billy and Tommy, the one who had magic, Billy, in the comics, a version of Billy. It's a long story as to how Billy.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that. We don't have
We
to.
could do a literal whole episode on Wanda's children from the comics. But long story short, Billy in the comics has a relationship with Agatha Harkness. Agatha Harkness helps him to hone his powers. I believe she was his babysitter in the comics. A version of Agatha was. And so what we're going to see in this show is Joe Locke as Billy, um, which they haven't officially said Joe Locke is going to be playing Billy, but there's it
It's too
would just
much pointing.
yeah, there is literal like it is being so clearly outlined, like his fashions, the way he's behaving. It is so Billy Kaplan coded. Um, and so what we're gonna see is Billy walk the witch's road with Agatha. And I think along there we will see Billy discover his connection to the Scarlet Witch, which is what
Mm,
happens in the comics. Um, a sort of version of that story happens in the comics. He discovers his connection to the Scarlet Witch and realizes, oh, she's my mother. And
yeah.
I don't know how that's going to play out in the MCU. They have not revealed anybody who could be playing Tommy. I do feel a little bad for Julian Hilliard. I think that's his name. Who played Billy in um WandaVision,
Yeah.
because we are now getting to the point that if we get a Young Avengers movie, it's going to be in 2 or 3 years.
And it's gonna happen too. And
Yeah,
they've been building up the Young Avengers thing.
which then Julian Hilliard would be old enough to play the aged up older Billy Kaplan. I mean, I feel bad for the kid, but also like moving forward with the type of stories we might get with Wiccan,
It gets pretty dark.
it
Yeah.
gets pretty dark. There are some very, very adult things that that need to be had, because if you don't know, and this is something else that people are so pressed about on the internet, Billy Kaplan is part of Marvel's first gay couple. Billy Kaplan, superhero named Wiccan, is the boyfriend. Spoiler alert for the comics, he is now the husband of Hulkling, Teddy Altman. Since their introduction in the Young Avengers, I mean, I could literally go pull this comic book off of my shelf. Since the introduction of those two in the same room, they have been boyfriends. There has never been a time when Billy Kaplan was not a homosexual.
Hmm.
And people online are so pressed
They always are. They
about
always are.
because there is a part of the trailer where Joe Locke is so gay. And if you don't know Joe Locke, if you don't know Joe Locke, he is best known for his role as Charlie Spring in the Netflix show Heartstopper. Um, and so at one point in the trailer, Patty LuPone says, "What witch in their right mind would join Agatha Harkness's coven?" And Joe Locke, as Billy, goes, like he gives this very, very appalled reaction, and it's so campy, it's so funny. And people are talking about that, and people are saying, like, oh my God, we're gonna have to deal with this super effeminate gay character in our TV show. Yeah, you are. Get over it. Because the Young Avengers have been around since 2006.
Yeah. They've been here for a minute.
That's
Yeah.
been 18 years now.
Yeah. Well, people, the thing is,
Wiccan has been
people,
gay. When we knew Wiccan was coming, we were like, okay, who's playing the gay boy? Who's playing the gay boy?
It's just been a known thing. I don't know why they're acting like they're changing a character. They're not. That's
Exactly.
him.
It's not like we're getting a younger version of Tony Stark or something, and all of a sudden Tony has a boyfriend.
Yeah, it's not. No characters are being changed.
No,
It's
this is, and I mean, if you look at the Young Avengers, I'm pretty sure there are two straight characters in the roster of Young Avengers.
well, the whole point of this, anyways, is that no characters are being changed. No,
Yeah, they
and
are the
they hit.
exact characters that we've known for
It's
years.
hypocritical because the moment, like this tiny little detail of just like Spider-Man, whatever. Aunt May says, "With great power comes great responsibility." Instead of Uncle Ben, oh, I'm gonna get all pressed about it because they're changing character arcs. But now you want them to change character arcs
Yeah,
for your
exactly.
personal bias. I
Exactly.
I don't get it.
There is there is no world, there is no world where Billy Kaplan, Wiccan, was going to come on screen and
Mhm.
end up with a woman.
It would
Now,
just be disrespectful.
now that's not to say that they're going to give us Hulkling and they're going to give us the Hulkling Wiccan love story.
Yeah,
There's no way there's we don't know that. We don't know that. But
yeah.
that is to say, in 5 years, when we're on season 2 of the Young Avengers Disney Plus show, don't be surprised when Billy Kaplan kisses Teddy Altman. I'm just saying. That's
Yeah.
you cannot
Also,
you cannot be pressed about that.
also to keep in Marvel news, and I don't want to stay on this one too much because I've been keeping away from spoilers, but Deadpool and Wolverine coming out this month, later this month. I'm hyped for that. I will say I don't have Marvel fatigue anymore. I am suffering from multiverse fatigue. I'm kind of tired of it. Kind
Yeah.
of getting tired of it. I'm making a I don't know what to call this, but I'm not mad at Deadpool and Wolverine for doing this because Hugh Jackman is back and I want to see him as Wolverine again. And I'm very curious as to see if all of the rumors are true about all the X-Men cast coming back from all the other movies and Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider and Ben
Oh,
Affleck is there.
something even could be said about Deadpool. Because if you know your comics, Deadpool isn't straight. Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, even in the comics, like he hits on just about every
everything
guy.
that freaking moves,
Yeah, even
Deadpool
Spider-Man.
will flirt with it.
They have a whole comic where there's like this big fantasy world that Deadpool's living in, where he's like hitting on him
Like
consistently.
he wants to hit on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is like, "Will you please shut up?"
Yeah, it's
So
just part of his character. And again, with like
all back to that conversation. Nothing is being changed.
nothing's being changed.
You just didn't know these people who were upset about it. They just didn't know about it beforehand, and now they're being introduced to it for the first time, and they're freaking out.
So getting into the topic of some movies coming out this summer, there's quite a few that are headlining. I know we just talked about Deadpool and Wolverine. That's one of them. That's probably, I'd say, maybe the biggest one. But moving on from that, there's another one called Twisters, and I am very excited for this. I know Brennan's excited for it. If you haven't seen the first one, it's got Bill Paxton and who is it? It's not Helen Hunt, is it?
It is Helen Hunt. It's Helen
It
Hunt.
is Helen Hunt. Okay, yeah, and Helen Hunt.
One of the
Amazing movie.
which, if you don't know the behind the scenes story about
Oh
Twister,
my.
one of the greatest Hollywood rivalries came out of the pairing of Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt.
Yes.
They hated each other so much so, and this is going to be a little tangent real quick. There used to be an attraction at Universal Studios called Twister Ride It Out.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to that
Rest in
beautiful
peace.
attraction. Um, but when you were in the pre-show room for that, there were two screens on the wall in front of you. On one wall had Bill Paxton, and on the other wall had Helen Hunt. And the reason that there were two screens and why it didn't look like Bill Paxton when he looked over to listen to Helen Hunt talk. Why it looked like he wasn't actually looking at her is because he wasn't.
Mhm.
When they asked Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton to come back to record for that pre-show, they both said, no, unless I do it alone. And they did. Those two hated each other during the filming of that movie. I do not know the full story as to why, but it is one of my
I don't
favorite
think we'll ever know.
it is one of my favorite behind the scenes facts about that movie.
Speaking on behind the scenes, the absolute, I don't even want to say torture because I mean, it wasn't torture, but like the absolute just physicality of filming that movie was insane. I want you guys to go look up one of the behind the scenes shorts on YouTube or Google. You will see they are actually being pelted with ice cubes that they chuck up with like a wood chipper and fan out at 100 mile per hour speeds at them. They're being hit with a lot of actual debris like twigs, rocks, anything really. But the physicality of filming a movie like Twister when it came out, crazy. I don't think we get movies that are that practical anymore.
Right.
And it's a shame.
By all intents and purposes, Twister should have been a terrible movie.
It should have been,
By
but
all
it's
intents
not.
and purposes, like I wrote a paper on that movie in college for an eco cinema class and how it works, not only as a film, but how it uses the twisters to inform this human drama that's happening. It's incredible,
It's
and
great.
it is
Great.
it is one of the I would say in terms of just like movies with practical effects. I mean, it's definitely it's got to make the top 25 list of all time greatest
Oh,
movies.
it has
It
to.
needs to.
It has to be. Um, I really hope. Again, I'm not big on trailers now. They show too much.
Yeah,
But if I'm in a theater and a movie trailer comes on, I'm gonna watch it.
right.
I saw the Twisters trailer. It looks good. I like that campiness of like, of course they're not going to take it so seriously. It's a movie about tornadoes. It's a sequel to a movie about tornadoes. What are you going to ask for?
Exactly.
It's not Oppenheimer. But
Which I still haven't
I
seen. Still haven't seen
what
Up.
you haven't seen Oppenheimer?
No.
Okay, I don't blame you. It's really good though.
I just got to devote 3 hours of my time
Of your time, I did Barbenheimer, so I
to Barbenheimer.
I have that flex. I have that flex. But Twisters, Glenn Powell. I don't know who else is in it.
I
Um,
know Anthony Ramos is in it. Um, is it
I
Dave?
just know Glenn Powell because the billboard outside my window is Glenn Powell.
Wait,
on
there's a
the,
Twisters billboard outside your window?
you can't see it at this angle. You have to drive down the road the other
Oh,
way. But every time I'm going to my apartment, I see it.
I think it's Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos are like the three names
Okay.
behind it. Which of course Glenn Powell, well known for
Yeah.
Anyone But You, with Sydney Sweeney,
Top
um,
Gun.
Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah.
um, and then I'm sure other various projects.
Oh, yeah.
Daisy Edgar Jones, Where the Crawdads Sing. Um,
Oh, so that's what I saw her in.
yeah, Anthony
Okay.
Ramos, Hamilton, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. I think
Is
he
that
was in.
also him? That okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's him. Have you seen the protests that have been happening about Twister?
No, there's
Twister?
protests.
PETA is
Oh,
because apparently it glorifies rodeos.
I thought you said it would glorify tornadoes.
You know, I
Um,
mean, if anyone has seen Twister, the iconic line of Twister is, "I gotta go." The Bill Paxton's character's wife is on the phone. She goes, "I gotta go. We got cows," because a cow flies over their car. That is
yeah,
hilarious. That is one of the most iconic lines of that movie. It is the iconic
yeah.
line of that movie. But in this version, PETA is protesting it, I believe, because it might be Glenn Powell's character
Yeah, the whole ride it out stuff.
rides in a rodeo.
Yeah.
It may,
Um,
maybe it's just me, and Carter, you can probably speak to this too, but I'm born and raised in South Mississippi. Rodeos are not that big of a deal. I understand that, yes, the whole bull wrangling and things like that, and riling up a bull so that way you can sit on it while it tries to buck you off.
yeah,
I understand that, it's
it's a
it's
culture thing.
it's a
It's
little
a
thing, but it's a culture thing. And
yeah,
guess what? They've set up Glenn Powell's character to be a Southern kind of guy. He's
yeah,
he's a rough and tumble kind of guy. So honestly,
yeah.
PETA, like they were holding up signs outside of the movie theater, and people, literally, the video I saw of the woman, she goes, I know most of you have not bought tickets to see this movie, but listen to me talk. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is the hill we're choosing to die on.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't know that there was protests about that. But Twisters, I think that comes out on I don't
It's soon.
want
It's soon.
it's soon. It's soon.
They've already had the world premiere, so
Yeah. Another big one, and we're going into the horror area. Alien Romulus. I am ecstatic for this movie. Alien is one of those franchises that, again, on the whole franchise thing, the deeper you go, kind of the worse it gets. But this one, I want to say, looks very, very promising. They're going back to some, like we were talking about, practical effects with xenomorph blood melting through,
that's pretty cool.
steel. Um, they're doing some practical, I don't want to say puppetry, but the guy that's wearing the actual suit, there is puppetry in it with the face huggers. Those are all practical. So I'm glad to see kind of a return to form for a franchise like Alien.
Yeah, I've only seen the first Alien film.
Okay.
Um,
Aliens is really good. It's one of those movies that people say the sequel is better than the
yeah, I've,
original.
I've heard that. The clearest memory I have of Alien is actually not even from the actual films. It's from the Great Movie Ride, which used to exist in this building right here. Um, you would go in and you'd be on board. The TCM narrator would say, "We are on board the spaceship Nostromo with Sigourney Weaver," and then you'd pass by this animatronic of Sigourney Weaver just going,
Yeah, that creeped me out as a kid. That
and then the xenomorph would come down and attack you from the ceiling. So I
which
watched.
oh no, continue. I
So
didn't mean to
so
cut
I
you.
watched the first Alien when I was 14 or 15, and I enjoyed it. I just never
Yeah.
saw any of the other ones.
I saw the re-release of the theatrical re-release not too long ago, and I had people that were younger than me sitting in front of me, and they I could hear them. They would have to get up and walk out because they were so stressed out, and they would come back and they would be like, "Dude, I can't with this movie."
I mean,
But
it is truly it's not a horror movie. It's not
mm,
a it's truly a thriller in the way that, like, what is going on, because you don't
yeah,
see the xenomorph for,
less than 8 minutes. I want to say less than five even, but
yeah, because you spend the first like 45 minutes of that movie just watching people walk around this spaceship and
yeah, you're watching people try to problem solve, and you have to remind yourself the same thing for when I look at movies like The Exorcist. You have to remind yourself what year this came out
mm-hmm,
and it being the first of its kind.
mm-hmm.
A movie on the scale of Alien, I don't think was attempted during this era, and if it was attempted, it wasn't executed as on par or on par as Alien was. So just seeing like this new type of world building, and I say new in context of what year it came out of, just building this world in space.
Yeah.
on a spaceship.
Now, Alien is another one that has had just a wild franchise history too.
Oh yeah,
Am I correct? Because
yeah.
you go from like Alien to Aliens, which is a
Alien 3.
which is a pretty linear, like,
Yeah.
okay, we figured out what's going on. But then you have films like, was it Prometheus?
Prometheus, and then Alien versus Predator, and
Oh yeah, I forgot about Alien versus Predator.
yeah, yeah. Um, you
Which,
got
like,
some pretty wacky
Prometheus
stuff.
wasn't even about like xenomorphs and stuff.
Prometheus, I think it was more towards the end of that movie where we see where how xenomorphs are like created, I want to say, or it's like how they're born or whatever. I haven't seen Prometheus, so I don't know much about that. But Romulus looks crazy. Have you seen the trailer for Romulus?
I'm not.
I would. They don't reveal very much at all if you're watching the first one.
Okay.
It's
Look
it
that up when we
the
take a break.
the atmosphere is just crazy. I'm big on scary movies having atmosphere because without it, you're not doing anything for me.
Oh, exactly. If you're
Yeah,
just jump scaring people, jump scares don't work unless you've put people into the
no,
world to be jump scared.
yeah. And again, on horror movie talk, I see a lot of people that are complaining about jump scares, and I love a good jump scare. Don't get me wrong, I love a good jump scare, but it needs to have a purpose, and
Hmm.
I can agree with that. But at the same, I'm at like war with myself because I want them to be good, but I love them at the same time. So
There's another horror movie that you mentioned earlier, and I don't want to take us away from Alien too much,
mm,
but and I'm loving the marketing for this movie too. Long Legs.
long legs. Oh my! Did you call the number that's
Mm-mm,
available?
mm-mm.
Oh, dude, it's it's not scary. It's
Okay,
just Nicolas Cage breathing.
should I do it like live?
You could.
Okay, let's see.
You'd have to Google it. I don't know. But while he does that, basically I'll give you the rundown of what we know the movie's about. I'm gonna actually see it tomorrow. But there is a woman who is an FBI agent, and again, the trailer doesn't really tell you a lot. Um, but what I'm making out is she's on the lonelier side of her interpersonal relationships. There's a serial killer that is on the loose, and the serial killer knows about her existence and is basically kind of, I don't want to say obsessed because I really don't know.
Is it so it's kind of got that Silence of the Lambs dynamic?
In a way, but it's kind of like it's pointing to the serial killer is related to her,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's like he wants her, but not in a like a ding ding ding
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah,
Well, like even with Silence of the Lambs, there was that like Hannibal Lecter, Clarice Starling having a respect for each other, as much
yeah,
as Clarice could have respected Lecter, he's a serial killer, but that like Lecter recognized that, okay, this is a woman who, had I not been behind bars, would have survived me.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
he respects her, and she understands that like she needs him for something
yeah,
to solve the case of Buffalo Bill. So it seems like there's something similar going on here with Long Legs. Like there might be something else that, the character is trying to figure out,
yeah.
but Long Legs is gonna
The
help along that journey.
yeah the advertisement for this movie has been crazy. They haven't been really doing a lot of teasers. There's
But that
like
trailer that was like when the actress, I cannot think of her name, when she
is it
saw,
Mike Monroe? What
yeah,
or
no,
make it
something like that.
something Monroe?
But it was like
Something.
when she first saw, it was like her resting heart rate is 91 beats per minute or something like
Yeah,
that. It's like, but when she saw Nicolas Cage's Long Legs for the first time, it hit 170. I was like,
yeah.
that is how you advertise a movie.
That's marketing. Yeah, there's stuff online like websites with like the crime scene photos that you can look at. But
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just pulled up the number, so
okay,
let's see what happens when I call it. So
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. This is new. It changed. Happy birthday to you. Is it over?
Yeah.
Okay. That's different than when I did it.
God, that was terrifying.
That's different than when I did it.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't recommend calling that.
No, call the number. Call the number.
Oh my God.
I love when movies do that. I love when they have a number you can call.
Wow. Okay, so now I am intensely interested in seeing Longlegs.
Yeah.
I hate being scared,
I
but I
love being.
love the feeling of being scared.
Yeah.
Like
I
if I go through a haunted house leading up to it, I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But then as soon as I'm in there, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
yeah. 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 I love being scared. I love being scared with the group. I hate being scared when I'm by myself. I hate.
Yeah, because then you can laugh about it later. You can
Yeah.
laugh about how stupid everybody looked later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
we've got Twisters, Alien Romulus, Deadpool and Wolverine, Longlegs.
long legs and uh
Those
I
are the
think
biggest
that
ones that I've been hearing.
those are the biggest ones that I know about. So I
Yeah.
mean we can wrap it up and go into the your topic.
Oh yeah. But I'm very excited about all of those, and especially now that I know more about like Longlegs because I
Oh
have
yeah.
not seen a trailer whatsoever for that one. So I'm glad that you shared that
And shared the phone number.
and shared the phone number because that I mean that is genius marketing. And you were talking about movies having marketing campaigns like that.
Yeah.
Twisters. I mean, have you seen some of the billboards that they've been putting out for Twisters?
I believe so.
There was
Uh
one that was like it was ripped across the poster, and then there were chairs like stuck into like this brick wall.
yeah. Yeah.
And then there was one, it was upside down, and it looked like it had been like punched into the ground, like a twister picked it up and threw it down into the
Yeah.
ground.
I'm gonna make sure I see that in the 4D theater
Oh,
with
that would
the
be
seats that
awesome.
shake. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Then I mean, I remember, do you remember when it was a few months ago, Godzilla and Kong came out? They did some very similar type marketing. They had a Kong fist punching out of the ground as if he'd come up from the hollow earth. They had
Yeah.
Godzilla sitting in the water somewhere, and with like his scales lit up at night. That was really cool looking.
Yeah.
I think Godzilla minus one did something similar. House of the Dragon put
Oh,
a
House of the Dragon.
dragon
Yeah.
on top of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
That is cool. When studios want to spend that much money on something, that's when you know they care about the product that
Yeah.
they're putting out.
I'm of the opinion, make one teaser trailer. That's the only ad that you run on television or TikTok or whatever, and then do actual marketing outside.
Yeah, like
Like,
movies used to be like that. I mean, you would
yeah.
get one or two trailers and then you'd have to go see it in the movie theater if
Yeah.
you wanted to see anything else about it. That's the danger of social media and stuff like that, which is
Yeah.
another topic we could talk about with social
Yeah.
media killing, streaming services and things like that. Like if I can watch an entire episode of um Dead Boy Detectives on TikTok, why do I have to download Netflix to watch it?
Yeah.
Like if someone
Plus, on Netflix, Subway Surfers isn't on the bottom. So what am I
exactly
gonna
like I'm not
watch
getting I'm
while
not
I?
getting doubly stimulated.
Yeah. What am I gonna watch while I watch it?
Yeah, like even like if I want to watch Family Guy, I'd rather sit there and see somebody making like a baseball out of tape on the side next to it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, very excited about those. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
about that, Carter. And I'm looking forward to when Universal makes a Long Legs haunted house and puts you
I wish.
legs in the house. Going on to the next topic that I wanted to talk about is a new trend with new releases. So keep going off of new releases a little bit. Um, new releases on streaming services is this new trend of splitting the season into two. I hate it.
Mhm.
I hate it. Burn it. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
This whole thing really started with Stranger Things 4. Stranger Things 4 split its season into two different parts. There was episode 1 through 7, and then episode 8 and 9. They did it to hype up episode 8 and 9. But even with Stranger Things 4, when it was a brand new idea of doing it this way, episode 8 and 9 underwhelmed me.
Mhm.
Spoilers for Stranger Things 4 if you haven't seen it. Episode 7 ends with the reveal of who Vecna is. We get this whole story that we've been following for this whole season culminates in this reveal of who Vecna is. And it is one of the best season finales of something that's ever existed. But
It was really good.
the problem is it wasn't a season finale.
No.
Season finale happened 2 months later when they released episode 8 and 9. And episode 8, I couldn't even tell you what happened in episode 8. And really, the only thing that happened in episode 9, spoiler alert, was Max just about died, was left in a
Yeah.
coma.
Yeah.
And we
Master
waited,
puppet. Master.
yeah. And we waited 2 months for that.
It was 2 months. Wow.
There was at least a month and a half between.
I remember. Yeah. That was a long wait. Wow.
And I remember being so because I remember my sister had a reaction to what happened to Max. And people online were talking about, oh my God, these last two episodes were so good. And I just remember feeling so weird about it because, I didn't care. I didn't
Mm.
care what happened. We already got our full story arc in those first 7 episodes.
Do you think you got like the hype kind of left you?
100%. And especially, and I know they did it recently too with Bridgerton season 3. Why? Why Bridgerton of all shows are you splitting into two parts? I understand season 3, spoiler alert for Bridgerton, we are finally getting the love story between Colin Bridgerton and Penelope Featherington. What part of that do you have to cut off in the middle and say, okay, now you wait for the rest? I watched it all in one sitting. At no point did it feel like I was so hyped that I was going to talk about it for a month while I waited for the next part to come out. I feel that doing it this way kills the momentum of your show so much. And I understand why streaming services are doing it this way. It keeps your show, your whatever, in the news cycle for longer than it would.
And it keeps those subscriptions. and
And it keeps those subscriptions because if you subscribe for part 1, by the time you either renew or cancel, part 2's already come out. Okay, I have to renew because in 2 more days, part 2 comes out.
Yeah.
All right, so now I have another month. But, and I mean, it also keeps the news cycle talking about your show. In that instance, if you want people to talk about your show, do what Amazon Prime and HBO Max are doing. Start with 1 or 2 episodes, even Disney Plus. Even Disney Plus is doing it. Start with a 2 or 3 episode premiere and then do 1 new episode every week.
I hate series just dumping all your episodes in one go. It's
Because here's the problem with dumping them all in one go. People are on different episodes at different times.
yeah.
For me, if I really want to watch a show and I don't have time, I have to avoid TikTok,
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram.
And now you're out of the conversation.
I'm
Now
out of
you're
the conversation. By the time I finally watch it, everyone's moved on to something new, so I can't enjoy the fandom of it.
Yeah.
Whereas while I was watching Percy Jackson, I'm a massive Percy Jackson fan. Everybody who was seeing Percy Jackson was seeing it in real time with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether or not it dropped at 2 a.m. on Wednesday. Okay, some people might see it at 8 p.m. on Thursday. But by the next Wednesday, we'd all seen the episode.
Mhm.
We'd all seen the previous episode, and we could still keep the conversation going. House of the Dragon, I know, is the same way. Every time or every Monday when we walk into rehearsal for Sweeney Todd, there are people talking about House of the Dragon with each other. Oh my God,
Yeah.
did you see last night's episode? Yes, did you see it?
Yeah. And having that conversation between like you said in the fandom, it's so vital to your franchise. It's the pulse, really, because without it in a month, what who's talking about it? You
Exactly.
know? And it happens with Stranger Things every single year. Or
Exactly.
every year a new series comes out or season.
Which don't even
Where
don't even get me started on waiting 2 years between seasons. That's
oh
that's
yeah.
also killing me.
Yeah. It's just I don't know what the suits are really thinking. Because logistically, weekly releases, you're going to keep people subscribed no matter what,
Yep.
because there's only 4 weeks a month.
Yep.
So that's 4 episodes. You now, if you do what Disney Plus is doing, which is an 8 episode structure, now you have 2 months, a two
Hmm.
months worth of subscription. And
Hmm.
if you time it right, you release another show right after that. And
And then you capture people who are already there.
yeah.
And it this whole idea of splitting it into two parts, you really do kill the momentum of your show because
Mm-hmm.
when you split it into two parts, the conversation has a definite endpoint.
Mm-hmm. And there's no room for speculation.
Yeah, exactly. Your conversation, you're done. You
Yeah.
release that first part, people stop talking about that first part by the time the second part comes out. Then they talk about that second part, and then you're done.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
And that's what
Yeah.
when you said suits are thinking, that's what they're thinking about. And two, what I say about it is if you're gonna put a month between them and you want to say it's like, okay, well, maybe the story is okay, we want to give our editors more time to work on the episodes, or we want to keep the conversation going. Just if you're gonna dump it, just dump it all at one time.
Yeah.
Release the trailer because they released the trailer for the full season. You get a trailer for the full season, and then they say part one and part two.
Yeah. What I think
Just
from
just make everybody wait a month and drop it all at
yeah,
once.
yeah. I think what Maya Hawke said about the new season is that every all the 8 episodes are like a movie individually. She said so movies nowadays, for some reason, are 2.5 hours. That
And
doesn't need to be a
TV
thing.
and TV is an hour and a half.
Yeah. I I mean I love a long movie, but I also love my 90-minute movies a
I do
lot too.
I do miss
Right.
the days of, watching the first Indiana Jones movie. It may cap out at 2 hours,
Mm,
but in those 2 hours, we hit the ground running.
yeah. I mean
I
it's
miss I miss the days where a movie, you sit down, the movie starts playing, you got 10 minutes to get to know these people, and then boom, we are watching them. Jaws, the original
yeah.
Jaws. You
Yeah.
see that shark attack in the first 5 minutes, guess what? The rest of the movie, we're hunting this damn shark.
Uh-huh. I mean, my favorite movie, it's really long, The Mummy, but like it has that same formula. And I don't care if your movie's long, but you got to keep me interested. And
Yes.
like with The Mummy, like you said, first 5 minutes, they're fighting mummies. I mean, the whole sand
Yep.
creature monster. And from there on, now we're getting to know these characters. 10 minutes later, we're back where we started. So it, I don't know why they think it's okay to just
And
elongate so much.
I that's when your movie gets super long, that's when people say this could have been an 8 episode series.
Yeah.
When people say your movie could have been a series, and when somebody says your series could have been a movie, we're missing something. Somebody
Yeah.
somewhere is having a miscommunication. Some
Yeah.
intern is mixing up the scripts or something and
Yeah.
saying, I would so much rather the old idea of what happened with movies. You had your season finale in February or March, and then your next season picked up in October or November or September or October.
Yeah.
There was no time to get bored,
No, and not a lot of filler.
and there was not a lot of filler either.
Yeah.
There's just something going on with streaming, which when streaming first came about, it was really cool. When Stranger Things first dropped, and it was like, okay, this is really cool. We're getting movie level TV. I mean, Game of Thrones was the same way, but even
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, did the weekly release strategy. I'm thinking of TV or that was dropped all at once, and it really felt like an event. Now it feels like a chore because you're
Yeah.
gonna make me watch the first part of it and then make me wait more. You're gonna reward me for my
Yeah.
already long wait between seasons with an even longer wait.
But and even then with the whole dumping strategy, I mean I need a break. And who's to say that like after 8 hours of watching the same thing over again, when I wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna go back to that and finish the other 8 hours? What like I it's there's no room for
Which that could be said of like the advantage of splitting it in half. I understand that it has its merits, but what I'm saying is there are times when it works and times when it doesn't.
yeah. Yeah.
Like with Bridgerton season 3. Stupid.
I don't even know what's happening in Bridgerton.
Why would you split Bridgerton into two parts?
Yeah, is I don't really take Bridgerton as on the level of Stranger Things.
No, it's not. It truly
Yeah.
isn't. And I'm sure there are other shows that I'm just blanking on right now, but those are the two biggest
I mean,
examples.
those are the biggest examples. And
I'm sure when Heartstopper season 3 drops in October and they drop the next 8 episodes, there is no way they're gonna say, okay, the first 4 episodes come out on October, whatever, and then the next four will come out at Christmas.
yeah, I don't know.
See, like that's like, okay, you've dropped all of Heartstopper at one time. Why can't you drop the rest of it at one time? If you're gonna drop them in chunks,
Yeah,
just drop them in a bigger chunk.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that's my little rant on that, and I 100% agree that there are better streaming models out there, and that is what streaming services should look into, especially as people move forward with because think of it too this way, streaming services are all about to start, stopping password sharing.
yeah, yeah.
So if you're
Also,
going to ask all four members of one family living in the same household to have different accounts,
that's crazy. That's
to have different accounts, and what you're going to do then is make them pay for those accounts for 2 months just so they can watch one show. That is just not financially feasible for people. And eventually, people just aren't going to tune back in, and it's going to come back to bite the streaming services in the butt.
no, and they're making their whole. They killed cable TV to become cable TV,
To become cable TV.
and it's like, is this our full circle?
The
Really?
snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. I mean, I miss cable TV. I know it still exists and I know you can still get it, but I really do. I miss it felt kind of more unified
Yeah.
in the sense of literally everybody could watch the same thing.
Yeah. And you were all
Uh,
watching at the same time. If you missed it,
yeah,
you either went and bought it on Amazon, you bought the
yeah.
singular episode that you missed, or you
Watch the rerun at like 1 a.m.
yep,
And
you if the show premiered at 7 o'clock on a Sunday, guess what? At 6 o'clock the next Sunday, they were playing the last week's episode, and that was when you got to watch it.
yeah.
I can agree, I do miss that. And anyway, that is my tangent on the problem with, I mean, among other things, that is my main problem with streaming services at this moment in time. Um, so That's all I gotta say about that. Carter, you have anything to say before we wrap that up?
Um, no, other than weekly releases are superior to dumping.
And I agree.
That's it. Yeah. All right, so now we're at the end of the episode where we finally barter with Hollywood. If you didn't listen to the last episode, basically we try to make a deal, and it's usually trading one thing for another thing. We try to usually make it trade one good thing for something better. But there's no rules or regulations to it. My barter for this episode, this might be controversial. I'm gonna trade Deadpool and Wolverine, hasn't even come out yet, for an actual Blade movie to happen.
Oh yeah, because we're never getting that Blade movie that they
We're
announced.
never getting the Blade. I'm trading Deadpool and Wolverine for an actual Blade movie. It's been what rewritten like almost 10 times.
I think
Um,
I'm pretty sure it was Comic-Con 2019, if I'm not wrong, where they actually announced Mahershala Ali
yeah.
as Blade.
Uh-huh.
5 years, and we are yet to see.
He was in Eternals at the
Was
very
he?
end. Yeah, he was the post-credit scene where he talks to the Black
You're
Knight, Jon
right.
Snow. Yeah. And how long ago was that? How long?
Eternals was
Uh,
21.
yep. Um, for those of you who don't keep up with Marvel, Blade has been in limbo for quite some time. They can't find a director, can't find a script that they like. They've rewritten it every single time they've gotten a new director.
I'm pretty sure the first version got rejected by Mahershala Ali.
Because it wasn't there. I think he said that there was two fight scenes in a Blade movie. Uh,
Also, it's
um,
been discussed that it's going to be a period piece, like it was going back and forth between that one and Fantastic Four, which one was going to be like a 1960s period piece. Can we please stop setting MCU stories in the past?
yeah, yeah. But hey, the multiverse, man, the multiverse. I hate the multiverse now, dude. It's such a cop out. It's
Yeah.
such like a, well, we can do anything now because the multiverse. Let me just reach in my bag of tricks,
Yeah.
and
And they
it's
never did
just,
anything cool with it either. So
yeah. I mean, I love that we got No Way Home. I love Into the Spider Verse.
yeah,
I hopefully
it
will
works with
love.
those.
It works with those. Multiverse of Madness was a fun movie. I liked Multiverse of Madness. But now it's like everything is trying to have a multiverse, and it's like
And we don't need it.
we don't need it. But yeah, that's my barter. Deadpool and Wolverine for Blade.
Yeah, I am very surprised that Disney fast-tracked Deadpool 3 over Blade. I am so surprised that Disney did not sit and hem and haw over what to do with Deadpool. I am so shocked that Deadpool, I mean, because it was 2019 that we got Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2, I'm pretty sure, yeah. If
Yeah,
not 2019, 2018.
so that's a pretty normal, I mean, in terms of getting a sequel to something in the MCU, that's a
Yeah,
pretty normal turnaround.
yeah,
I'm very surprised that Disney figured out what to do with Deadpool before they figured out what to do with Blade.
yeah,
Because Deadpool already had an established raunchiness. It already had the established R rating that Disney needs to figure out how that's going to fit, especially with it fitting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
yeah.
They had a blank slate with Blade,
They
and it's
did. And
taken them this long to figure out what to do with it.
I think one good thing that can come out of this is the fact that it won't be the first rated R Marvel movie. So hopefully this kind of encourages them to dive a little bit deeper into that R rating because Blade, you can't make a PG
Yeah,
13 Blade movie
yeah.
right now. It's
So,
his
so
character.
do you think maybe what really is the big problem is they're waiting to see how Deadpool does?
I think, now thinking on it, probably that makes sense because Deadpool is already a household name,
Yeah.
and
See how
they can get
Deadpool
away with that.
does. Then they can say, okay, let's go back to maybe one of these earlier drafts and add in
Yeah,
those bloody fight scenes.
yeah.
Okay, I could see that. All right, my barter is not going to be nearly as good as that one. But I am going to, I'm actually going to make a trade with streaming services, and I am going to, and I need to, did not even really figure out the best way to word this as I'm going through it, but I am going to give you back all of these big event series. So all of your big event series, like House of the Dragon and Stranger Things, where it takes 2 years to make a new season. Take all
Mhm.
of those back and give me one serialized show with a week to week release strategy that you release a new season every year. Give me one.
Wow. Do you have a preference on what the show is?
I don't even care what streaming service it's on. I don't care if it means Amazon never makes another show or Netflix never makes another show. Take all of those back and give me one series that gives me a finale in February and a premiere in September.
Wow.
One.
That might be better than mine. That might be more of a hot take than mine.
Because, and I understand that with these big event television series, something like House of the Dragon, yeah, it takes 2 years because you're animating a giant dragon.
Yeah.
And with Stranger Things, you're building the practical upside down sets and then you're enhancing those with CGI. I understand why it takes so long, but take all of those back. Wrap up Stranger Things after season 5, wrap up House of the Dragon. You don't even have to take back what you've already given me. Stop making those, wrap them up, and give me one show that starts and ends in the same TV season
Wow. I
that
I wish. I wish.
starts that each you get your premiere in the fall and your finale in the spring. Oh, and then guess what? Falls back, we get another premiere.
It's pretty solid.
I remember it was a couple of days ago. They Abbott Elementary released like it's like, oh, it's gonna premiere in, I think it was in September, and there was like a tweet that had like 2 million likes, said premiere or finale and premiere in the same year, we're winning.
Yeah.
When that is what people are getting excited about with your shows, not the fact that a new season is coming, but the fact that you're not waiting 2 years for a new season,
Yeah.
you got to rethink your strategy. You got to rethink your strategy.
Yeah.
So that's mine. Take back your big event series that take you 2 to 3 years to make and give me one just run of the mill series with good human drama, good acting, practical sets. Make it 45 minutes each episode and go through it like a normal TV show. Go through it like TV
Yeah.
we used to have.
The good old days. The
Good
good
old
old
days of
days.
2014.
All right, so yeah, that's it for episode 2 of Bartering Hollywood. If you are listening on Spotify, if you could drop a 5-star review, follow, or also fill out those polls. If you look on under the episode, it'll ask you whose barter you liked more, what you want to hear us talk about, and Brennan for YouTube.
So yeah, so on YouTube, because right now we are just on Spotify and YouTube. Again, I'm going to ask that if any of you know how to put something on Apple Podcasts, reach out to me, DM me, do something. But for the meantime, on YouTube, make sure that you are liking, commenting, and subscribing. And you can leave those same comments about what you'd like to hear us talk about in the future. We are collecting topics as we go along. These first few episodes are kind of things that we've backlogged. And then we'll start getting into comments that you guys leave us, and 100% you will get a shout out for those topics that we talk about. And yeah, if you want to keep hearing future episodes, make sure you are following on Spotify or subscribing on YouTube, turning on notifications, and leaving all those glorious comments, likes, and ratings.
Yes, yes, word of mouth too. Word of mouth. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
But
The amount of people, and this isn't gonna try to be a brag. This is gonna be me being very thankful. But the amount of people that Carter and I know just in our personal lives that have reached out and said, like, I really enjoyed listening to you. I had friends from my Disney college program that were like, I missed having conversations with you. And so um
yeah, yeah.
them telling me that, this kind of was like having a conversation like that really made my heart feel good, and it, makes us want to keep
Oh
doing.
yeah, it makes us feel great. So thank you for the support, the kind comments. Yeah, if you want to have a conversation with us or want to hear us have a conversation about a topic, just leave it in the comments and we will be sure to get to that.
Absolutely. And like I said, for a while, we're probably going to be on this every couple of weeks release strategy just until we've, really settled into what we're doing with this. But so thank you for bearing with us, and
Yes, thank you.
we'll hopefully see you very soon for episode 3.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, guys.